Welcome to another installment of the RPG Fanatics side quest blog. This one is going to be a little bit different than my other video blogs. I'm not going to talk about game mechanics in this one or some other issue pertaining to the industry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my current game collection and realize that it's not as large of a collection as I once had. This is my current collection. I sold the bulk of my collection and raised like $3 grand or something several years back when I moved across the country. So this only represents what I have right now. Mostly remained. I've been slowly accumulating it over the years, but this is what I have. And it's not going to be just like computer RPGs. I'm going to show all the games that I own, period. So, you know, maybe if people want to see a review for something, they can let me know. I've always had a link on my website to all the games I have, but a lot of people don't like to read the long list, so this is a visual show of what I have. I apologize for my look. I'm a little bit sick. I need to shave, get a haircut, but who really cares about what I look like, right? You just want to hear about the games. So I'm going to start with my PS2 games. This is Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2, Inuyasha, Secret of the Cursed Mask, Shining Force EXA. This is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. This is Phantasy Star Universe. Actually, this is a PS1 game. It's Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles 1, I guess. Dark Cloud. I have the deluxe box set of Sakura Wars, So Long My Love, which I think is the 5th episode. I could be off on that. And there's Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, Shining Force Neo, a PS3 game, my only PS3 game, Disgaea 3, or Disgaea 3, Absence of Justice. I love this game a lot. Actually, if you go on Game FAQs, I believe I put 2 FAQs up for it. One is on how to build a really powerful magic character in this game. The other one is on how to acquire the best items in the game. So if you're interested in playing this game, definitely check out my FAQs. They'll be useful. Then there's The Hobbit. Don't ask. Armored Core 2. Dragon Ball Z Budokai. The original and still... yeah, it is the original, isn't it? Yep. I loved this when it first came out. Me and my little brother Curtis used to play it all the time. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, which is probably my favorite installment of the series. And Unlimited Saga, of course. Oh, we've got Shonen Jump's One Piece Grand Battle, which is actually kind of really crappy. Steamboat Chronicles, or Steambot Chronicles. Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Mega Man Anniversary Collection, I'm a big Mega Man fan. Mega Man Legends 2. Heroes of Might and Magic Quest for the Bone Staff. And this is actually a retitle. It's the first King's Bounty. It's a remake of the first King's Bounty game. Romancing Saga Minstrel Song, which is a remake of the original Romancing Saga for Super Famicom. There's Samurai Legend Musashi, which is, I guess, a sequel to Brave Fencer Musashi, but it's not quite as good. Final Fantasy X2. Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. Baroque, I think that's how you pronounce it. Castlevania Lament of Innocence. Got Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. Another PS1 game, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Forbidden Memories. Don't ask why I have that. Final Fantasy X. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, which is a remake of Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance. And Kingdom Hearts 2. Got Persona 4. Kingdom Hearts 1. Got the Nightmare of Druaga, Draga, I think it's Druaga, however you pronounce it. And then it's Mystery Dungeon. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the Fushigino, whatever. It's a hard-ass game. I've been trying to review it, not review it, but play through it, and record the footage for about a couple months. It's a really hard game. La Pucelle Tactics, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, The Legend of Fail, Beautiful Joe, Max Payne, Fighter Maker 2. This one's actually kind of crappy, but one of these days I'm going to get around to reviewing the RPG Maker series, because I actually know a lot about the series. When it first was illegally translated by Kanji Hack, the Super NES games, I was not really like there, but I was part of that scene online when that was all going down. RPG Maker 95 was all translated and stuff. So I do have some insight into how a lot of these programs work, and eventually I need to review the series, but I may mention that one in my review of the series. Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles 2, Mega Man X Collection, Legaia 2, Duel Saga, which is, I guess, a sequel to The Legend of Legaia. It's not as good in my opinion. It really has nothing to do with the game. Dragon Quest 8, Curse of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, Curse of the Rings. You can't confuse the cynical nickname of the franchise, you know, with the actual game. Atelier Iris, it's French. Atelier, I think, is the right pronunciation. It's part of the Atelier. It's not originally Iris, it was something else series. Anyway, it's Eternal Mana. It's the first of the Atelier Iris games. Iris, part of it. Maybe it was Maria. Atelier Maria? I'm trying to remember. Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. Atelier Iris 2, The Azoth of Destiny. Virtua Quest. Got Tales of the Abyss. Got Champions of Norath. Got Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And that concludes the PS2 games. Oh wait, one more. Orphan the Scion of Sorcery. PSP games. I've got Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. Dissidia, Final Fantasy. I've got Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles, which is basically Rondo of Blood remake with Symphony of the Night. And Adventure to Go. Now let's move into the PS1 games. I've got Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of the Superheroes. We've got, this is actually a Game Shark CD. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. We've got D, which is kind of crappy. When I bought it originally, I thought it was a different game, and I've never been able to get rid of it since. Mega Man X5. We've got Psychic Force. It's a fighting game. We've got Saga Frontier, one of my favorite games, and Saga Frontier 2, also one of my favorite games. Then we have Tekken 3. We've got Resident Evil 2, which I believe is the best Resident Evil title. We've got Eternal Eyes with a strategy RPG. We've got Mega Man X4. And we've got Armored Core Master of the Arena, one of my favorite Armored Core titles. We've got Final Fantasy Chronicles, Final Fantasy Chronicles that has Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger re-releases. And what's cool about the Final Fantasy IV is that it has a little bit more of an accurate title, accurate translation, not just with the title, because we got it as Final Fantasy II was actually 4, and it had a lot of the you know, the Ted Woolseyisms. And this one still has some of that stuff like Spoony Bard, but it's a little bit more accurate, and they didn't have they didn't cleanse out as much as the sexual innuendo and various adult themes with the plot. This is Legend of Mana. It's actually it's a custom jewel case that has its own little cover, but it is the authentic Legend of Mana disc. We've got Azure Dreams, of course, and Tornico Last Hope. We've got Thousand Arms, which is basically a game where you date girls to become a stronger RPG fighter. You learn magic spells and stuff by, you know, scoring with chicks. I need to get around to reviewing it. Final Fantasy Tactics. And that concludes the PS1 games. So let's move into the Super Nintendo games. Robo-Trek, which is, lots of people ask me about this because I had it in the old footage for the original opening. It's the game with the robot Pokemon, basically. Originally called Slapstick. It's made by NX. This is Luffy and the Fortress of Doom. We've got Super Mario World, Super Metroid. I'm not big on the first-person shooter versions. I think this is the authentic Metroid. King Arthur, the Knights of Justice, which is kind of a crappy, not really an RPG, but it is made by NX. Super Return of the Jedi, Mega Man X, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Here's the Super Famicom games. I've got Dragon Quest 6, got the Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game that I showed footage of in the retro how to play Super Famicom games on your Super Nintendo, and how to play Famicom games on your NES console. Dragon Quest V, and I've got Dragon Slayer: The Legend of Heroes, which I believe is a remake of one of the Dragon Slayer games, but I can't remember if it's the first or one of the later ones. Here's my boxes. I've got Sword World here, which is, to make a long story short, it's Record of Lodoss Wars, is the anime title, but it's based off of Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting that was suggested to TSR, who was the publisher of Dungeons & Dragons back then, originally, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. They rejected it, so the developers of the campaign setting for Lodoss, basically, they made their own game system. They uses 2d6 dice, 2 6-sided dice instead of 1 20-sided dice. And they published a bunch of replays, which basically was like a log of their gaming sessions. And that became Record of Lodoss Wars, this huge franchise. But this is Sword World, which I believe is based off the replays. I could be mistaken about that. But it's a very good condition box. And then of course I have Romancing Saga, the original Super NES, and Romancing Saga 2. I'm just missing Romancing Saga 3 to complete my Romancing Saga collection. I don't have all the Romancing Saga games because I have the Game Boy games somewhere, not over there clearly, but I do have them. Moving on, I've got PC titles. World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade. I don't know where my original box is for World of Warcraft. It's probably where my original box for Everquest and Runes of Norath is at. This is Ghostmaster. This is basically like The Sims, but you harass the Sims with ghosts. City of Heroes. So people keep, with the review I did of City of Heroes, people keep accusing me of, you had to test, a review copy of it. Actually, the account I used is the same account that I registered when the game fucking came out. This is the box that I bought when the game first came out. So, I played it for a while. Okay, here is Final Fantasy Legend 3, which is actually Saga 3. And here's Saga 1 and Saga 2. So the only Saga series game that I'm missing is Saga 3. I need to find one of those. And hopefully I can find a good copy of it. I still need to get the boxes and the inserts for all these games that are loose. But I want to have like a complete copy, a complete collection of all Saga games. That would make me very, very happy. I'm a huge fan of it. I like it a little bit more than I like the Final Fantasy games, really, which is sad because there's not as many of them. Of course, the Game Boy games, I have Lufia: The Legend Returns. I still have the original box for it. So, concerning Lufia games, I'm only missing Lufia 2, which I did used to own a very good copy of and sold. And now, I think I sold it for like 60 bucks, and now they're like over 100 to buy it. It's ridiculous. And I'm missing Runes Explorer. So, get those 2 games, and then I will be set. This is Red Ehrenmar, which is basically the Red Devil from Ghosts and Goblins in his own little game. It's actually a bootleg. If you look really closely, it shows Azure Dreams on it, which is probably the reason why I bought it, because it has the Game Boy Azure Dreams logo on it for some damn reason. This is another bootleg. It has like tons of games on it. It's mostly like Popeye, but it also has Circle of the Moon, and it's got the X-Men NES game on there as well. Why did I buy this stuff? I was in Kuwait, I was deployed, and I had Game Boy SP with me, Game Boy Advance SP, but I didn't have any games for it really, so I ended up buying some of these bootlegs from a tent in Kuwait. I've got Zelda Link's Awakening DX. I have Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I've got Mega Man Battle Network White 3. Never finished it. Pokemon Fire Red. I've got, I used to have the original Pokemon, but I sold all that stuff too with my collection. Dragon Warrior 3 Remake for the Game Boy Color. Got Breath of Fire 2 for the Advance. And I've got Tales of Fantasia, the only, to my knowledge, the only English release of Tales of Fantasia. And Castlevania Arrow of Sorrow. But again, this one here is a bootleg game. It's sort of hacked. The character, he's got like max stats permanently, and he walks through walls. So it's not really a good copy of it. Let's see. And I've got Boktai, The Sun Is in Your Hands. So let's go on to the NES games before I go into the Atari 2600 games. Super Mario 3. And I've got Cybernoid the Fighting Machine. And we've got the Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt combined. And we've got Ninja Gaiden 3. We've got Wizardry 1. Dragon Warrior. But the battery in this one doesn't work. Gyromite. Yeah, Gyromite, fools. My NES is actually the one that came with Rob. I've had that one since I was a kid. I got it, I believe, in a garage sale. It wasn't the first NES console I ever had. The first one came with the exercise mats. So I have like the games for both systems that came with it. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves has kind of a crappy label. Castlevania. Got Willow. Got Gold, The Adventure of Link. Zelda 2. And we've got Dungeon Magic, Sword of the Elements, which is basically a lot like Deep Dungeon. It's a one character you control in a dungeon crawl, not unlike Wizardry. But you can actually walk around the town and stuff. It's actually not too bad. Like if you want to look at the history of the first-person perspective ones, you have to look at the Deep Dungeon series. Battle of Olympus, which is part of the Adventure series. It's not an RPG, but it has gameplay that's kind of similar to Legend of Zelda, only there's no overworld map. Then there's these, I don't know if they're bootlegs. I have to do more research into these. But Mac Max is basically an unofficial game for the NES. It says Family Computer on it, but it's for the NES. Marble Madness. I hated the commercials for that damn game. They were quite annoying when I was growing up. Gauntlet 10, this is the bootleg version of Gauntlet. This is not bootleg, it's just the unofficial version that they made before they actually got a license. Faxanadu, which is part of the Dragon Slayer series. And we've got Duck Hunt, the independent, standalone copy of Duck Hunt. We've got Kickle Cubicle, sorry, I'm retarded. That is actually a lot of fun. I used to waste lots of hours on this game when I was a kid. Batman, the video game. We've got, I believe this is the one that came with my system when it had the mat. Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet. And then, of course, there's Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, and then Dragon Warrior, where the battery's been replaced so that I can actually back up the game. Then we've got a couple more. We've got Tengen Shinobi. We've got Crystalis. We've got some fighting game. Not fighting, it's a shooter game. We've got The Legend of Zelda Gold version. We've got The Magic of Schwarzenegger. It's Persian, I believe. It's based off some sort of princess from mythology. It's Shahrazad, whatever. It's Schwarzenegger, right? Princess Schwarzenegger. It's by Culture Brain. It's actually a computer RPG. It's kind of interesting. It has elements of an action RPG, and at one point you play a console RPG and a strategy RPG. It has various chapters where the gameplay changes. I need to eventually get around to reviewing it. Star Tropics and Metroid. Then we've got Wizards and Warriors and Kid Icarus. Ooh, Kid Icarus. Oh my god, Kid Icarus! Yeah, there's people that are like have crazy hard-ons for this game. I honestly wasn't all that impressed with it when it came out. Let's see, this is a TV cartridge game, so it's another unlicensed NES game. I think it's called B-Wings. It looks like a shooter. I can't remember. A lot of these games, like I bought this in like a lot at eBay, not eBay, but from the Goodwill of these imported games. So I have no idea what they are. I don't think many of them even worked very well. They need to be like totally re-cleaned, or their pin connectors are bad, or whatever. I've got, for the Famicom games, I've got Dragon Quest III, I've got Dragon Quest IV, and I've got Dragon Quest II. So I think that the only Dragon Quest games I'm missing, I think, is just Dragon Quest VII. No, Dragon Quest... I think it's Dragon Quest VII for the PS1. That's what I must be missing. Of course, then my one Genesis game that I still have, because I could not sell it, Warlock. Bad game. So this has been my collection of games that I currently have. It will continue to grow. It doesn't have all the games I own. I'm not sure. It must be a different box where my Warcraft is at, and my Lord of the Rings Volume 1 is at, and my, of course, Everquest is. But you know, my collection will expand. I'll do another one of these videos. This is just sort of a meet and greet, so to show people what I've got, and maybe people can ask questions about anything that they want to know more about, and I can do a review on it or something. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care until the next video.